Nicola Sturgeon squirmed as she was grilled over her government's failure to provide adequate protection for staff in care homes, with the revelation that some have been forced to depend on donations. Nicola Sturgeon was confronted about issues with personal protective equipment (PPE) in private sector care homes. Some Scottish care homes are reportedly having to rely on donations from individuals and organisations to fight coronavirus outbreaks. The First Minister insisted that the principal responsibility to protect staff lay with the care home provider. She told the briefing, "Our responsibility working with care home providers is to make sure that care homes are as safe as they possibly can be. Obviously in the context of a global pandemic of a virus that has no treatment and no vaccine and that we know particularly affects older people. Let me also say no member of staff in a care home should rely on donations. The principal responsibility to provide protection to staff is on the part of the care home provider." Ms. Sturgeon continued, "The government's responsibility, as we have been undertaking, is to top up these PPE supplies where required. We've been working hard to do that to make sure that the distribution routes are as effective as they can be. We will continue to work with care homes to make sure that care home staff have the protection they need. Any who don't should be raising that with the local management." The First Minister added, "And, of course, they still have that email address where if they can't resolve it locally then they can come direct to ministers." Health Secretary Jeane Freeman also spoke, just to remind everybody, including any care home staff in particular who might be watching this, of the ways by which we assist your care home provider to have the PPE that you need to protect yourself, but also to protect the residents you care for. As the First Minister said, the primary responsibility is of course with your care home provider. She continued, "Many weeks ago we recognised, with Scottish Care, that in the global demand for PPE, care home providers may be hard-pressed in terms of their normal supply routes. We agreed that our NHS stockpile of PPE and our distribution routes would take on an additional responsibility to provide PPE where that was needed to social care. That was both home care, the care of individuals in their own homes, and also to care homes. We have established a dedicated order line and a dedicated supply route. About a week ago, we put out a week's worth of supplies, not against demand, but in order to ensure that all care homes had at least a week's worth of supplies directly delivered to each individual care home.